Hey there, what is up? So for today's video, I'm gonna do something a little bit different. I have a little 5-second activity planned. So if you are not in a place to have a few moments to yourself, go ahead and get to that place where you're just alone by yourself, and I want you to close your eyes. Are they closed? Okay. So with your eyes closed, I want you to think about your partner in life. Your best friend, the first person you think of to call in an emergency, the first person you think of when you are in a bind, when you need advice, when you need help for something. Who is that person that you call? Is it your spouse? Is it your best friend? Is it a parent, a teacher? Who is it? And then hold on to that and think about that person. Okay, now I have a question for you. Was the first person you thought of Jesus? Because I know that when I did this for myself, I just thought to myself, who is the first person I turned to in a dire situation? I'm being completely honest, it wasn't Jesus. I thought my best friends. When I thought life partner, who I go to first in any situation or scenario, I immediately thought of my best friends and my parents. And it wasn't God. And it was a huge heart check for me that, wow, the first person that came to my mind wasn't Jesus. What is in my heart? What am I idolizing? What am I putting above Jesus, where he is not my very first reaction? He is not my very first thought. And that's just me being honest. And if Jesus was your first reaction, I am so excited for you and so happy that that was your first reaction, because that your heart, is just beautiful posture. If it wasn't, if it was like me, I just want to encourage you. What are we putting in the way of our relationship? What are we prioritizing above God, to where other people are our first thought, not Jesus, not God? What idols have we placed in our lives, even unintentionally? It's not like we sat around and said, I'm gonna put these people above God. It can happen slowly, it can happen unintentionally, but it can happen. And that's my point with this video, is that it can happen so unintentionally. So what can we do to switch the narrative? What can we do to change the perspective to where our first response to this question is God and is Jesus? And I just want to encourage you, take a look in your life and think to yourself, what am I putting above God? What am I letting take priority over my relationship with Jesus? And what is standing in the way of me having this full interconnected dependability on Jesus and not on other people in our lives? So I hope this encouraged you in some way. I hope that this helps us, especially because I did this for myself. I was just thinking one day, who do I call an emergency? And it wasn't Jesus. Who do I first go to in a bad situation? And it wasn't Jesus. And so it was a huge heart check for me. So if I know what's happening for me, I know it has to happen to at least one other person out there in the world. So if you, on the other side of this phone, this camera, this conversation, if that was you, I just want to encourage you, you are not alone. Does not mean that you are a bad person. It does not mean that you do not know Jesus or have a relationship with him. It just means that our heart posture is not perfect and is not perfectly aligned with Jesus, which that should be like our end goal, is to have our hearts perfectly aligned with him. And that is never going to be obtained in this world, but we can start somewhere and we can inch closer to it, and we can just slowly, millimeter by millimeter, shift into that alignment with God. So I hope this encouraged you in some way. I hope that you are having a blessed and happy day, and I'll see you in my next video.